the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Monster Mile. We're here in Dover, Delaware at the Dover International Speedway. A fitting name for a track in Dover, of course, but we are here for tonight's SimPossible Racing League B-Car event. 133 laps of this 1 mile concrete bowl-shaped racetrack that is so very tough, so very challenging, and it's definitely going to put on a show tonight. But we've already ended practice. AJ Digby at the top of the board with a 23.899. He's 1/10 off of, or he's 1/10 clear of Tanner Sharp, who is second. He's in the 23.9s, and then everybody else in the 24-second bracket. But go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Cameron Rich with Carlos Acosta in those in the production truck, manning those cameras as always. And see right there, Cam Solo Artist Rich on your screen. But we hope to bring you guys a good race tonight, and I definitely think that as always, the SimPossible Racing League will put on a very good show. So it's going to be something to watch. Definitely going to be a challenging event for these drivers. A very long race, 133 laps here. Doesn't sound like a lot at a 1 mile track, but it just the way the track is, it can really throw a curveball to everyone, and that's why Miles the Monster is kind of the mascot of this racetrack. You see him holding up race cars all the time, throwing them down, and definitely it will be something to see. But we are in qualifying now. Got about 4 minutes left, and I don't see really anyone on the track right now. We'll wait for some people to go out, and actually we do have a few on track that you can't see because iRacing is it does that. But there's number 9, Tim Masters. He's currently at the top of the board with a 23.553. That is our fastest lap of the weekend by far. About 4/10 clear of our fastest lap in practice, so definitely coming out with a lot of speed right out of the gate. He is just a couple 100ths faster than AJ Digby. Getting in the wall there off 4, and that's going to be something we see all night tonight. If we see trouble, that wall comes out and bites you in a hurry. There is Kyle Zimmer in that number 25 Tony Stewart inspired Home Depot machine. See what kind of lap time he's able to put up. Of course, he has a couple wins on the season. Actually, 1 win on the season. Was able to capture the win at Richmond so far. But he is your points leader tonight. Virtue of that win, as well as consistency, and the previous points leader Dave Wilson not being here and not going to be here for the foreseeable future. Kyle Zimmer goes to 3rd place with a 23.561. So the time's very close at the front. Only several hundreds separating the top 3 cars right now. So very close field here tonight, and it's definitely going to be something to see. But we'll see if anyone else comes up on the board right now to put on a lap. I don't really see too many drivers out except for Kyle Zimmer himself. There's Fernando Matos. He's out on the track right now, coming through 3 and 4 to finish his lap. See what kind of lap time he's able to get out of this. Make sure not to hit that wall. That will disqualify your lap. He's good on that front, and let's see where he goes. 5th place with a 23.862. So about 3/10 off of Tim Masters right now. So very close field for those first 3 cars on your board right now. You see there Tim Masters, Digby, and Zimmer, your top 3. A little bit, a couple tenths back to Billy Wise in 4th, and then another 10th back to Fernando Matos, who's he got in the wall there, and that's the kind of typical Dover wreck that you see here. You get in the outside wall, which it feels like it squeezes in. It really feels like it does, but it doesn't. It just the way the track is, you get suspension. It unloads itself, and it just feels like the car wants to go out to that wall, and so many times you see that. There's Matthew Wisniewski on the racetrack right now, in that Jeff Gordon inspired number 24. He is currently 7th on the board with a 23.962. Tanner Sharp, who was 2nd in practice, we know he's good at this track. We know he's good at a lot of racetracks, so we'll see what kind of lap time he's able to put down, coming through 3 and 4, running a little bit high, so this might be his out lap. I'm not completely sure. Gonna pull it right down low off the corner, right up to that outside wall, and let's see if he puts down a lap. Yes, he does, 23.586. So look at those lap times for that top 4. They're all in the 5s and all very close. So absolutely incredible to see that here, and I think that's going to make for a really good race tonight. About a minute left in qualifying here, and I think Tanner's just going to run his 2nd lap as a formality. It's not going to be any quicker, of course, because your tires really last about 3/4 of a lap here before they really start to go, and you kind of just start losing grip. It's not a high tire wear racetrack. Dover is it's not, but it's just a track that really the grip starts to go away, and that's something I brought up in another broadcast we had at this very racetrack last night. The tires really, they just they lose grip, and it's a lot different than wearing, because wearing they tend to wear evenly, but they don't really wear evenly here, grip evenly, because you really can start to get to that loose feeling off the corner, and they really feel it in higher powered cars when you start spinning the wheels and stuff. But we saw Chris Berge on the racetrack for a moment, but qualifying was ended, so we're going to go ahead and rack the field up and get them started here for you in just a moment. Field on the grid right now. We'll start going through the starting order right now. Your pole sitter, Tim Masters, I believe that might be his first SimPossible Racing League pole. I'll have to go ahead and check on that in just a moment. But AJ Digby is going to be starting to his outside in the 2nd position. Kyle Zimmer, your points leader in that number 25, is going to roll off 3rd, and to his outside, Tanner Sharp in the number 3, a pair of Chevys on row number 2. Billy Wise and Fernando Matos are going to comprise row number 3. Nate Catilla is going to roll off in the 7th position, and next to him, Matthew Wisniewski in that number 24 out in 8th position. Johnny Berardi is going to roll off in 9th position, and to his outside, Chris Berge, who was not able to get a lap time in, or a clean lap time in, I believe. And the last of the qualifiers, we're going to have Thomas Wise in 11th. The rest of your field, Tom Johnson, Alan Capers, Doug McCollum, and the perennial non-qualifier himself, Brian Lowhead, starting in 15th. So 15 cars here tonight, and 15 cars for 133 laps at this racetrack is going to be something to watch. So definitely watch for trouble. We're going to see it tonight, I think, just because of how the track is. We're going to see these guys get in the wall every now and again, and that has a tendency to cause accidents that may or may not be, somewhat large. We saw that last night in another broadcast at this track. Once again, we saw a couple really big accidents, 5-10 cars, and that's just something you get here just because it's so narrow on those on that front stretch and the back stretch especially. So you just kind of get that, and it's really nothing you can do about it if you're one of the other drivers. But the one thing that these drivers do have that they did not have last night is all these drivers have 4 fast repairs to use at their discretion. So if they do get in trouble, then it's not going to be a race ender if they can kind of keep the fast repairs from expending themselves too quickly. But the pace car is off. Field in the hands of Tim Masters. All the starts and restarts in this league on the green flag. He looks like he's a little bit trying to jump the gun there a little bit. This is a very odd start to the race. We'll have to see what race control says about that. But either way, we are going. Tim Masters out front a little bit from AJ Digby. AJ on that highest side, Tim on the low side. Already had a caution in turn number 1. I don't know what happened, but it looks like the number 13 of Alan Capers has some damage. That's Thomas Wise, number 1, with damage. So I have to imagine that it started with those 2 drivers, and either way, we are under caution already. 1 corner in this race. We'll see what happened on the replay here real quick. Might have not even got on the front stretch yet. Looks like we're in turn 4 here, and we're focused on Thomas Wise. Ooh, yep, wheel spin, and that's one of the things that is very prevalent about this racetrack in particular because of the way the track is. There's banking on the front stretch, there's banking on the back stretch, but it just the concrete surface and the banking, it really makes restarts challenging. And you can, especially with these Xfinity cars, you know, having about 700 horsepower or so, you can really spin up those tires, and you can get yourself into a bit of trouble. And we saw that there with the number 1 of Thomas Wise and Alan Capers. Alan Capers, actually your most recent winner in the SimPossible Racing League, was able to capture the win in the K&N Cars at Milwaukee Mile on Monday. So definitely really cool to see that. Not the way he wanted to get his race off tonight started, but either way, he'll get his fast repaired. He'll get back out there, no problem. But it looks like Brian Lowhead might have been involved in the accident a bit as well. He's got a little bit of, actually a lot of front end damage. He's also at the front end of the field, at the very tail end, probably going to get a wave around here, but definitely looks like he's not going to be able to pit and get that damage fixed because he has to stay out and take the wave around. So definitely a interesting thing there, but it looks like he might be pitting regardless, so I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but obviously he thinks it is. And one thing we'll have to kind of mention here before we get going too incredibly far is just this pit road. You can kind of see it right there on your screen. You see Brian Lowhead going into it. But this pit road is a very challenging pit road to get on and really off too, because you have to slow down really going into turn 3 because the pit entry is in the middle of the corner, and that's so challenging to do as a driver. You see on this aerial view right here, that pit road very narrow as well, so the pit stall or the pit boxes are very, very small, and they're only big enough to support barely one car. So you know, very tight pit road, a very hard one to get on and off, and it definitely is a part of the challenge of this racetrack nonetheless. But we are doubled back up for the restart here, ready to get back going and get some racing in. We only had one corner of green flag racing, and definitely want to get some of that out of our system, so we're doubled up here at the front, waiting to get back going. We'll see if these drivers can do this one a little bit more correct, kind of keep the field a little bit more bunched up and not have any issues on the start or the restart, excuse me. Pace car looking to pull off here in just a moment. Yes, it does. So field back in the hands of the Masters. We're doing this again. Kind of a deja vu. It looks like we're a little bit not formed up in the back, but that's no problem whatsoever. We're going to get going here regardless. Race control, throwing the green flag, and AJ Digby looks like he got a fantastic restart. Was able to get those tires hooked up much better than Masters. We'll see if he can take the lead into turn 1. Yes, he does. Pretty easily. Got some 3 wide here in the back. It's Alan Capers, and I believe might have been Tom Johnson, but it looks like everybody got going pretty well. AJ Digby able to take the lead from Tim Masters. Just got those tires hooked up pretty well. We'll see if Kyle Zimmer there in 3rd position can do anything with Tim himself, but nothing off turn 4 here. Actually, Kyle under fire from Tanner Sharp. Got a great run off 4 on that high side. You see him right there in that blue car through 1 and 2. See if he can do anything with Zimmer. No, he can't. He might be under fire from Billy Wise. Through at 3 and 4, it looks like Zimmer got his stuff back together, and he might be looking to get under Tim Masters, but no, he gets a bad run off turn 4, and here comes Tanner Sharp again into turn 1. He might have the spot this time. Slides up the racetrack, almost in contact. That's one thing you see about this racetrack. You have to make those kind of dive bomb moves to get around people, and that kind of plays into doing just that. But he does take 3rd position from Kyle Zimmer, so we'll see if he can make a run on Tim Masters, and he's going to do it just here. Tim had to get off the gas in turn 4, and here comes Tanner Sharp for second place. Not able to make the move into the corner, but we'll see if he gets a good run through the center. Yes, he does, but here comes Masters back on the outside. Almost got walled a little bit, so he's going to be under fire from Zimmer himself. Here comes Christopher Burge under Billy Wise right behind them. You see him right back of your screen right there. So great little hornet's nest of racing here at the front of Dover. So far, only 8 laps into this race, so a lot of racing left to go. But you see from the back here of AJ Digby, he has about a 7/8 tenths of a second lead over Tanner Sharp, but Tanner is very fast right now, and so is that number 98, Christopher Burge. He's your biggest mover, started 10th, already up to 4th. So what a drive in the early stages of this event. Certainly showing he knows what he's doing, putting on a great performance at this stage, and see if he can get a couple more positions. But one driver who's probably not happy with things are going is right behind him, Tim Masters, your pole sitter. He's back for 5th place. Kind of been going the wrong way. Might be under fire for Billy Wise, or might just be looking to kind of cool his stuff off and kind of just kind of let the race come to him, not too worried about going out there leading too many laps or doing anything flashy right now. Knows he has the speed, at least for 1 lap, so just kind of do that for a run and he will be just fine. But looks like the lead, not really doing anything just yet. Digby holding about a steady 7/10 of a second lead over Tanner Sharp at the front, and a further 2 seconds back to Kyle Zimmer. So Kyle actually looking pretty racy himself. He's going to want to get under Tanner Sharp here in just a moment. Not really any side-by-side battles to see just yet through the field. Best battle is here at the front for these top 4 positions. About 1 second separating all of these cars, and definitely you see that number 98 at the back of your shot. He, like we said, is the biggest mover. He's going to want to get around both Zimmer and Sharp to make a run at that number 14 of Digby. Interesting to see a bit of different lines being played here through turns 1 and 2 already. You saw Kyle Zimmer running a little bit higher than Tanner Sharp through that corner, but here you see Zimmer running a little bit lower than Sharp on the opposite end of the speedway through 3 and 4. So definitely a different philosophy for both of these drivers, and we'll see which one plays out. Looks like a bit of connection issue there for Zimmer for just a moment, and he's back and getting going pretty well. The lead down to 5, about 6/10 of a second really, from Digby to Sharp. So Zimmer is still having connection issues there in the 3rd spot. He is blinking out pretty substantially. We'll see if that fixes itself, or maybe he ends up dropping. That would be unfortunate for him. But still lead pretty stable here at the front between Digby and Sharp. And we're going to keep an eye on Zimmer's connection issues. He's still having blinking issues, and you got to think if that happens too long, it's probably just going to drop him out, and that's definitely going to not be what he wants for the race. But we'll go on board with Christopher Burge. He's got the best view of those connection issues right from, you see that for 25 blinking out a little bit. And for a driver, that really is a little bit distracting, especially a track like this, where you need all the concentration you can get. So when you see that car blinking out, throwing smoke everywhere, it really can kind of throw off your marks and all that stuff. So he's probably getting a little bit frustrated with what he's seeing in his windshield, just seeing that car blink around and throw smoke everywhere, because it really is disorienting as a driver. But one driver who's not having frustrated, or not being frustrated, is Tanner Sharp. He's actually catching the 14 of Digby at the front little by little every lap. The lead down to about 4.5 tenths, and it is shrinking. Looks like it's going to be about 3 tenths this lap, and indeed it does. It is. So definitely Tanner Sharp about a tenth quicker than Digby per lap at this stage of the race. He's running a little bit lower in turn 1 and 2. I think a little bit higher in 3 and 4, so I think that might be the preferred groove right now. We'll see what kind of runs or what kind of lines they run. Yeah, you see just a tick higher through 3 and 4. They both cut down to the bottom side on the exit and just kind of run that, what I like to call diamond line, where you go up to the high side and cut it back down low. But interesting to see. Tanner is in that kind of dirty air window where you get about 3 tenths behind somebody, and it becomes exponentially harder to pass almost, just because that car in front of you takes your downforce away, and it just gets so hard to kind of do anything. And really. I think he's struggling with that right now because he was catching, but he is still able to catch a little bit. What he's been able to do is run a little bit different line than Digby. Just get a little bit of downforce on that car. Right here you see is looking under Digby through 3 and 4. Both of these drivers run pretty high in the middle of that corner, but cutting it back down low on the exit just so you don't make sure you don't hit that wall at turn 4 wall, which is so easy to hit. But this is your best battle on the track right now for the lead. Looks like most others are pretty spread out at the moment. Still going at it for these two drivers, Sharp and Digby. Digby, very close to the wall there. Looks like he had to get out of the gas because of that, and that's going to give Tanner Sharp an opportunity to get under him in turn 1. We'll see if Digby can use that outside line to pinch him down, and very, very close off turn 2. Looks like, Digby in the wall, and Tanner Sharp got a little bit loose, so we've seen these two drivers get into it again earlier on before. Very close there through 3 and 4 too. I don't think Digby was too happy with that, even though Tanner did nothing wrong. But Digby's going to have to slot in behind Sharp. That damage, no doubt, going to affect him. That was a pretty solid hit on the wall out of turn number 2. You see the damage on the onboard here. That right front is a little bit crinkled up, so he's definitely going to have to ride that one out until he can pit, either under green or under caution. Very close there off of turn number 4 for Digby as well. So definitely that car probably not handling too well anymore, and you gotta think that he's gonna be hanging on to that thing until he can get it fixed. But Christopher Burge, who was able to get around Kyle Zimmer, that trouble on the front stretch. Matos and Berardi look like they got into it. Berardi's in the wall. Matos was sliding sideways, but I think he's still not caught that car up. Berardi having a lot of issues with that, but no caution on the speedway. We'll have to see what happened. There was Berardi right there off turn 4 and Matos behind him. Berardi was running in the 8th position and just got loose, and Matos made avoiding move on that, but almost wrecked himself, but was able to keep it going straight. So good piece of driving on his part to not get involved in that. Berardi having a bit of damage on his right side. He hit the wall pretty solid as well. So I think he's going to be in the same boat as Digby, where he needs to ride that out until he can get it fixed under caution or under a green flag pit stop. See the battle here for the 8th position. Fernando Matos, Tom Johnson, and Doug McCollum. I don't believe that we did say Doug McCollum's name. He was a non-qualifier tonight, but I didn't notice him in the server. Might have gotten a little bit late, didn't actually run any practice laps, so showing tonight that he doesn't need practice. He's in the 10th position right now, started 14th, and making a move on the number 56, Tom Johnson, for 13th. Or excuse me, 9th, not 13th. That's for the 9th position, so give Doug McCollum the 9th position, and he's going to pull down a little bit and make a little bit of a block off turn 2. There is Billy Wise and Tim Masters. We talked about earlier, Tim Masters was going in the wrong direction and still doing so. He's back to 6th. Billy Wise running exactly where he started tonight in the 5th position, so doing a pretty low-key race right now. Billy Wise, that's kind of what we see from him. He's going to just hang on there all day until the very end. Well, he will definitely be there. There's Kyle Zimmer coming back on Christopher Burge for the 3rd position. Apparently Kyle got his connection issues fixed, whatever they were, and he's going to want that 3rd position back from Christopher Burge. Again, they are very close through turns 1 and 2, and that is a very anxiety-inducing thing to do, because you're just the way that these turns are. We talked about how it is very close off the corner to the wall, but when you have a car and you're outside, it's even worse. Like, it amplifies the effect. So definitely, that's why this place is so hard to pass and why it's so tricky to do anything. We have a battle behind these two. Tim Masters and Billy Wise going at it pretty hard. They were very close through 1 and 2. Tim Masters got the position from Billy, so move him back to 5th, move Billy back to 6th, and definitely these two drivers are going at it pretty hard right now. So a lot of racing all over this track. 30 laps into the event. We have about 102 laps to go, so quite a long race to go, but these drivers showing that they don't care how many laps there is to go. It's going to be race time for everyone. And with 31 laps down, you have to think, as a driver, this is the point in the run where you kind of have to start thinking, about green flag pit stops, because I think our run is going to be about 60, 70 laps or so, and that obviously means we can't actually know, but I think we do 60% fuel in this league, so I think our run's going to be a little bit shorter than that, so probably about 40 laps, I would say, maybe. So I have to think that these drivers are going to have to start worrying about fuel right about now, if that's the case. So we'll have to we'll have to look and see what happens. Nobody has come down pit road just yet, but I think we're starting to get into the window of where you need to start worrying about it, and definitely short pitting at this racetrack just because of the way that the tires wear is a big advantage. And maybe somebody like AJ Digby, who's currently about 1.3 seconds behind Tanner Sharp for leader right now, but he's got about 3-4 seconds on the car behind him. Really, Digby might be looking to maybe throw that short pitting strategy and try to gain some time on that 3, but that Tanner is going to be watching for that and watching for somebody to pit. There's Digby on your screen right now, about 1.4 seconds back to Tanner Sharp right now. Ooh, we have a bit of a mess in turn 3 with some lap cars in front of Tanner Sharp. That's no doubt going to hold him up, but I don't think by very much. Matthew Wisniewski and Nate Catilla were going side by side at it for a little bit, but they got single file and were able to let the leader by. So that was able to let Digby gain about 0.3 of a second in that one lap alone. And that is something that is another thing about this track that is very prevalent, is the lap cars are so really harmful to the leader more than anything. Oh, bump from Tanner Sharp and Nate Catilla. Might be saying, I'm coming and you need to get out of my way or else, but I don't think, I think it was just a matter of Nate Catilla not getting a good run off the corner, and Tanner was already there, but he pulls down to the inside, lets Tanner go. Actually, no, he doesn't. So he's fighting for his lead lap spot to stay intact, and that's every right of his to do so. But Tanner might be getting a little bit frustrated. Ooh, in the wall, and he's gonna hit the wall hard, and that's gonna be ooh, he gets Digby too. So wow. And that's going to be our second caution of the day. Good little run we had there for a little bit, but either way, Nate Catilla has hit the wall pretty hard, and he was fighting to keep on the lead lap, but definitely being involved in the caution, not going to do himself any favors, and just kind of sideswipes AJ Digby there. Nothing he could do. We talk so much about Digby's luck in this league, just really has terrible luck, and there's nothing he could have done about that. Or really, as a driver, just you kind of have to go where you go, and just unfortunate circumstances that Catilla's car just hit him right there. But I don't think that Digby got a lot of damage out of it, so he might not even need to take I don't think he's got a little bit of left rear damage, but we'll see if he elects to take a fast repair or just elects to fix it, because that really is not a lot of damage, and he actually did not ever spin the car around. So a good piece of driving on Digby's part. We'll go on board with him. Look at that save. Didn't hit the outside wall, didn't really hit anything. So all that damage on the left rear is from that car hitting him. So we'll go back live here. We've got some pit stops underway. All the leaders going to come into pit road because that was a pretty lengthy run. Excuse me, not all the leaders, because Christopher Burge had just stayed out. We'll see if that's just to lead a lap or if he wants to just throw his dice and just see what he does. But I believe that it's going to give the lucky dog to Alan Capers, who was able to be the first car one lap down under the caution, and indeed he does. So we got pit stops underway. We'll see if all these drivers are able to get in their pit stall cleanly, and it looks like everybody has so far. Last right there, Tim Masters pulling into his pit stall. He's got the first one. He started right up there, and we'll see who comes off first. Tanner Sharp easily comes off first. AJ Digby, I believe he did elect to take that fast repair. Indeed, he did. So I'm not going to waste any time fixing that on pit road. Followed by Kyle Zimmer. Looks like he had a pretty bad stop. He came out behind Billy Wise, Tim Masters. So losing 2 spots. Not going to be happy with that. There's Christopher Burge electing to come down pit road. I think he knows about restarts here. He knows that restarts are hard enough on fresh tires, and you know, if you elect to stay out on old tires and kind of press your luck, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So Christopher is making the right move to come down pit road, in my opinion, and just he got his lap led. I believe he did. Yes, he did. So he's going to get that bonus point and get some fresh tires on that car. Alright, we're back here at Dover. Just took a moment to step away from the mic a bit, and we're going to get set to go green here once again, doubling up for the restart. Tanner Sharp's going to be your leader. We'll go ahead and reset your top 10 real quick. Tanner Sharp, of course, like we said, the leader. AJ Digby, who was involved in that accident just a moment ago, able to get his car fixed up and not lose any positions, so good on that. Billy Wise in third, Tim Masters fourth, Doug McCollum in fifth, Fernando Matos sixth, Chris Roberge in seventh, Tom Johnson eighth, Kyle Zimmer losing a lot of spots on the pit cycle. He was running in the third position, I believe, before the pit stops, and Alan Capers rounding out your top 10. So we're going to get set to go back going green here in just a moment. I think that was a bit of a handful of English right there for myself, but either way, pace car is off. That's not a handful, and hopefully these drivers don't find this restart a handful, because we've talked about how wheel spin is a very real thing at this racetrack, and we see field bunched up a little bit in the back, but a little bit, everybody looks like they're getting going green, or getting going pretty well. Actually, Tanner doesn't get going at all. He looks like he might have missed a gear. He's going to lose first and second from Digby and Tim Masters. Been very close through 1 and 2, but Tim Masters able to clear Tanner Sharp. He's going to make a run at Digby here in just a moment, but I don't believe he has any run to do so. And no, he does not. Almost some contact there between those top 3 cars. So very close through 3 and 4. Caution out once again on the racetrack. I believe it was number 99 of Johnny Berardi. He's backwards in turn number 4, so we'll have to look at the replay and see what happened to him. Might have gotten some contact or gotten loose. See here, he's right in front of the number 33 of Doug McCollum. Ooh, Doug McCollum, or that's not, excuse me, that's Nate Catilla. So my apologies to Doug McCollum. They have similar looking cars to my blind eye. But that was Nate Catilla. He got on the apron for some reason and just looks like he punted the 99. So I'm not sure if that was, certainly you don't want to say anything, but it might have been some payback for something, but I'll have to see about that one. But either way, that's going to bring us under our third caution of the night. 44 laps down, so still quite a bit of racing to go here at Dover. Most of the leaders, of course, not electing to come down pit road because really only about a lap of racing on the tires, not much to make a difference with brand new tires. So we see some drivers in the back coming down pit road. Of course, the ones involved in the wreck, but looks like most everybody else electing to stay on the racetrack. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to all of the chatters in chat. Right now I only see one, Mike Brooke, a Fernando Matos fan saying Matos Nation checking in. I'm glad there's a Matos Nation, that's awesome. So thank you for joining in on us tonight and keeping us some company. Actually, really, yeah, me and Carlos up here in the booth. But thank you for that. We always appreciate the chats and everything. So pace car lights are off. We're getting set to go back going green here in just a moment for working our third caution of the night. Hopefully we can get some green flag racing here in just a moment and start clicking some laps underway. Have about 90 or so laps to go around that mark, 85-ish. So, quite a bit of racing at this racetrack, but if it starts going green, that really can go by in a hurry. So these drivers can get some racing in. Pace car looking to duck off on pit road, and he does indeed right now. Flagman has that green flag in his hands. Quite a bit of time from when that pace car goes off to when the green flag comes out, a couple of seconds. So these drivers have a few moments to think about what they're going to do on the restart. And the green flag going to be shown right now, and everybody on the gas hard. Looks like everybody got a pretty good restart at the front. Digby got a good restart. Masters got a pretty good restart. Was able to hang with Digby into turn one. Some shuffling back behind Billy Wise. Looks like he got shoved out of the groove a little bit. Going to lose a couple positions to Tim Masters in the ball a little bit. You saw some sparks being thrown up there off of turn number 2, but it didn't hurt him too incredibly much. A bit of damage on the car, but didn't lose a lot of momentum. Here comes Tanner Sharp. Like he got shot out of a cannon. Very good run from 3 and 4. So definitely, he was fast on the last green flag run. Definitely going to try to look and see if he can get back to where he was before the caution was out and get back to that lead. Getting single file here throughout the field. You see that most of the field has kind of evolved into that train of single file cars. Ooh, trouble on the front stretch. Tanner Sharp got turned around and caution is out. So we'll have to go back and watch the replay and see what happened, but I think I know what happened. I think there might have been some contact from behind with the 98 of Chris Reverge. Actually, yes, indeed there was. It looks like looks like Tim Masters wasn't able to get going as well as the two cars behind him, and Chris Reverge just kind of had nowhere to go but into the back bumper of Tanner Sharp. So we'll see on board with Sharp here and see if that is indeed the case. You see that run, he gets right here. He pulls up right up to the back spoiler of that number 9 and just has to check up, and Chris Roberge nowhere to go but into him. So unfortunate circumstances there, but Tanner Sharp looks like he is all right. Doesn't even have a lot of damage on the car. Might elect to just fix it up instead of taking a fast repair, because the left front is the only part that is really damaged on that car. The right front, not too well. That was a pretty square hit in the front clip, so we'll have to wait and see on that. The leaders electing to come down pit road right now. Digby, Masters, and Zimmer all on pit road, as well as everybody else behind them. So to imagine we'll see 4 tires again. Interesting a little bit, because we don't have a lot of laps on the tires. You saw Chris Roberge stayed out. He might elect to stay out for good this time. And I have to imagine he will, because there's really no benefit to him staying out at this point to lead another lap when he already has led 1 so far. Looks like everybody in their box pretty cleanly. No overshooting or any of that sort just yet. There's Tanner Sharp coming into pit road. We'll see if he takes a fast repair or not. I believe he's going to elect to fix the car. Yes, he is. So as we kind of thought, Billy Wise gets off pit road first. So interesting to see that. He came in about 3rd position, I believe. So a good pit stop for that number 32. The Wise guys putting on a good stop for their lead driver. It looks like it was 2 tires for Billy Wise, though, so my mistake there. But good, interesting strategy being played there. I think it's a good strategy, because we don't have a ton of laps on the tires, and if you're going to try something, try it in the first part of this race, so that if it doesn't work, it doesn't bite you nearly as hard as it would otherwise. But Tanner Sharp coming off pit road now. Car a little bit looks about the same as it did before he pitted, so we've seen Tanner do that before. He has done that even at a restrictor plate track, where aerodynamics are incredibly key. He's ridden around with David just to kind of save those fast repairs as much as he can. So interesting that he it definitely has played to his benefit before, just saving those fast repairs to the end of the race, and you never know what's going to happen. I believe Chris Roberge is going to elect to stay out on this restart, and we'll have to see how that works. The front 2 cars, possibility of having no tires and 2 tires could spell a bit of problems for everyone behind them on tires, because not to discredit those 2 at the front, but when you have older tires at this racetrack, you just cannot get going like everyone else can, and it just kind of plays. It just kind of bunches the field up, and you can really get some big accidents that way. We've seen that in the real life series every now and again, and definitely, we have seen it in the sim as well. Pace car lights are off, so we're going to be going green here, and Chris Roberge is definitely going to be your leader. Let's reset the top 10 once again for you. Chris Roberge, your leader. Billy Wise, second. AJ Digby is your first car on 4 tires. In third, Tim Masters, Kyle Zimmer, Doug McCollum, Fernando Matos, Tom Johnson, Brian Lohead, and Matthew Lesniewski rounding out your top 10. So that's going to be the order for the restart. Like we said, those front 2 cars are on no tires and 2 tires, respectively, for Roberge and Wise. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And I do think that that's going to be something that all the other drivers are going to have to be aware of, especially for Digby behind Roberge on that inside line. He's got to be aware that Roberge may not be able to get going as well as he can. So the good thing is that the starts in this league are all on the green flag, so really they all know what's going to happen. Pace car off. We'll see what happens here in just a moment. Flagman has the green in his hands, and he is displaying it right now. Looks like Roberge was able to get going pretty well, but actually a very good restart, all things considered. And I thought that might be the case because that car really doesn't have a lot of tires on, or a lot of laps on the tires. Looks like the big loser right now is Billy Wise, who is on 2. He's not able to get any grip whatsoever. Got kind of shoved up to the high side, but Digby was able to get around everyone. He is right behind Roberge right now, so he's going to want to get back to the lead as soon as possible. I think it might be right here. Good run through 4, but not able to do anything just yet. Roberge able to hold the lead off for one more lap. And he's doing a good job on those tires because, you know, Dover is a track, like we said, you just lose grip. You can't do anything about it. So here comes Digby, as we kind of expected, but Roberge drives it off in the corner. We'll see if he can hold that line. He's actually doing an incredible job keeping that number 14 at bay. Very close off turn 4. You know he's driving it for all he's worth just to keep that car up at the front. But either way, good driving between these two to not get into each other. I think Digby might have his opportunity here into turn 3. He's looking, but he's not going to take it. Can't get the move done in time to do anything with that number 98. We'll see if it comes off 4, very close off 4. He's going to pull up right to the rear of that 98 and look his nose into turn 1. And I think, yes, he's going to make the move right here. So nothing Chris Roberge can do about it just yet. He's going to fight back on the outside, doing a great job, but just those tires are something that you cannot overcome. Move Digby back to the lead. Roberge is not going away. Ooh, trouble! Contact between the 14 and the 98. 14 is all out of shape on the front stretch. Still wrecking. I think we're going to have a caution right here. So I can't imagine that Digby's going to be too happy about what just went down right there. But either way, kind of had to expect that might have happened. We'll see what happened on the replay. And it's already happening right here. He got a very hard hit there for, I believe that was the 33 of McCollum, because that number 33 is smoking heavily around the racetrack right now, so it is quite destroyed. Just Roberge did nothing wrong there. He was on the bottom of the racetrack and just not a lot of room being given, and no fault of either Digby or Roberge. Just some contact there, and either way, it did result in that number 14 getting turned around at a pretty bad spot because it was right at the exit of the corner where there is a wall right there. He hits it, and the car just starts going everywhere. Nothing he can do, and there's Doug McCollum, smacks right into the side of him, and quite well destroys his car, so he's going to take a fast repair, no doubt about it, as well as Digby. Interestingly enough, not a lot of takers for the pits under this caution. Just looks like the cars that were involved in that accident, as well as a couple others that were further on back, elected to come down pit road. But the majority of the field electing to stay out on the racetrack. So that's a very interesting call to make. See Alan Capers taking out the cone there, and that's something he's well known for. He's the cone head himself, well known for taking out those cones each and every week, and you know his cone count has to be in the probably thousands by now. So we know we're gonna have to send him a bill. The track's gonna have to send him a bill, and we're gonna have to get ourselves a little cone counter for him one of these days, when we actually have the right mind to do so. Actually, looks like we have a lot of takers for pit road, so I might not have been wrong. I absolutely was wrong that we didn't have any takers because the pits were closed. So, looks like Chris Roberge on pit road, Zimmer on pit road, Billy Wise on pit road, like Tim Masters, Tanner Sharp, and Alan Capers, the conehead himself, Fernando Matos, they all decided to stay out. this racetrack down near turn 3, and if you can have a chance to ever go to this racetrack and walk across that bridge, especially when they're racing under green, it is a sight to behold, having a bunch of race cars coming head on at you from below. So I remember when they built that thing around 2004 or 5-ish, and that was a pretty big deal as I went in that year, and you know, it was awesome seeing those cars from that perspective. It definitely was a unique thing at the time, and it really still is, because there is no other track that has a passenger bridge overhead that isn't a road course. So definitely, I would say for anyone who likes really cool things to go look at that really cool thing, and it's something you never kind of forget, and it's just a cool thing. But another cool thing is that we are doubled up for the restart again, so we're going to be getting some racing once again. Alan Caper's taking out the cone, of course, and we are going to get set to go green here in just a moment. Tim Masters back up where he started at that front of the field, and he's going to be starting next to Tanner Sharp to his outside. Fernando Matos is up quite a bit. He started in 6th up to 4th position right now. Alan Caper is right now up 10 spots from his 13th position starting spot. So we will have to wait and see. Pace car is off. Tim Masters is going to be controlling this restart once again, like the initial start. Gets going a little bit, and bit of a checkup there. We'll have to see how race control deems that, but that field definitely did stack up a little bit, and you saw what happened with Alan Capers. He got kind of jumped on that restart by a few cars, but Tim Masters was able to get up to a bit of a lead. I have to imagine that those restarts that he is kind of getting are going to be viewed by race control. Looks like there's somebody having some issues on the backstretch, but it looks like everybody is all right. Alan Capers popped the wall there off turn number 4. You saw it on the wall camera, and there's Tanner Sharp being very racy for the lead once again. You know, he's fast. He led a lot of laps so far tonight. He's going to pull low in turn 3, and I think he's going to have an easy shot at this lead. Indeed, he does. He drives right around the number 9 of Tim Masters, back to where he's been for most of the night so far. But here comes Digby. Digby coming with a head of steam behind Tim Masters. It's like Tim had to back off pretty early into 1. Might be having some handling issues with that machine, and Digby looks like he's going to have a good run off turn 2. He's going to pull low in turn 3. I think he's going to take the spot as well. No, he doesn't. He eases off in the corner, not able to do that dive bomb that we saw Tanner do just a lap ago, and he's going to give Tim a bit of a break here. So Tim able to hold 2nd position from AJ Digby. We have a battle in the back for the 5th position. Fernando Matos under fire from Kyle Zimmer. Kyle Zimmer takes the spot pretty easily. We see a lot of damage on the back of that number 17, but not affecting him too incredibly much right now. Digby gets around Tim Masters for 2nd, so he's going to be setting sail to try to catch that number 3 out at the front. Tim having a lot of handling issues with that car, I can tell, because he just about got in the wall there off 4. Might have actually touched it just a bit. He's going to be under fire from Roberge now off of turn 2. Indeed, he is. Roberge drives off into the corner, pretty aggressive, but Tim Masters not going to let him by that easy. But I think Roberge has the preferred route, and he's going to pull up in front of him. Now Masters has to deal with the 25 of Zimmer, who very close there. He throws a bit of a block there on Zimmer. I don't think that Zimmer liked that too much. He pulls up right on his spoiler through the corner, but not much he can do about that. Bit of damage on the front of that 25, but it's not affecting him too much. He's still got a lot of speed in that car. And see good battle here from the back of Masters' car. Zimmer looks low on the front stretch, and I think he might do the dive into turn 1. Indeed, he does. So Tim Masters, like we saw, being very close there. There was some contact through 1 and 2. Zimmer's right rear contacted Masters' left front. So as we said at the beginning of this race, Tim Masters just kind of fallen like a rock. Does not seem to have good race pace at this stage of the race. So really not able to do anything just yet. So we'll have to see if he's able to kind of find some speed in that car as this race progresses, because right now it just does not look like he has it just yet. Here's Doug McCollum and Fernando Matos, the 2 cars immediately behind Tim Masters. That is the battle for 6th position. up here at the front. Digby has caught Tanner Sharp. I'm not sure if Digby found some speed in that car again. Ooh, we got very close to the wall going into turn 1. That's incredibly easy to do, as silly as that might sound. You just want to take the widest arc into that corner you can, and sometimes you just get very close to the wall. Caution on the racetrack right now. So we'll have to see what happens. I don't see any immediate issues right there. There's Brian Lowhead, that's the issue. So he's spun around. I believe that's in turn number 2. Indeed it is. So having some issues and getting that car turned around. We were very close there with Nate Catilla. We've seen Nate Catilla involved in a few accidents tonight. It looks like that number 4 got tight on the inside of Brian Lowhead, and Lowhead was there and just resulted in that car turning around. Brian Lowhead, looks like he got a pretty bad run off turn number 4, and Catilla made the move. Ooh, just shot up the racetrack. Brian Lowhead was a few lanes up and still got contacted by number 4, but thankfully not a lot of damage on that machine. Watch again here, and that number 4 taking an entry that was right on the bottom of the racetrack, so really not, that car was going to go that direction regardless of what he did, and just unfortunately Brian Lowhead was there. But like we said, not a lot of damage on that 66, probably won't even have to take a fast repair. So it looks like everybody was pretty good on that. Pit stops here for all the leaders. Everybody looks like they're coming down pit road. Probably going to get 4 tires and try to get some 4 Mr. Feelgoods on those cars. Looks like everybody was able to get in their stall pretty well. Race off pit road, Tanner Sharp and Digby. Looks like it's won by Digby, so Digby came into the pits as the leader. He's going to come out as the leader. Looks like not much position changing at the front. Nanomatos, interestingly enough, electing still not to take a fast repair on that machine. It is quite beat up. I didn't even see the damage on the front originally, but definitely has a lot of it. So very interesting to know. But you know, we talked about that with Tanner. You know, saving those fast repairs is definitely a strategy call, and one that can lead to success later on in this race. There's Alan Capers coming down pit road. He stayed out to lead the lap to get that bonus point, and gotta come down and get some tires on that car, and you gotta just get out there and get going again. Wesley Lee in chat saying, "Let's go Capers," and Johnny Berardi looks, he just messaged the YouTube chat saying he lost power at home, so that looks like that might be a retirement for the number 99. He's flown out of the server, so unfortunate on that, but thank you to Wesley Lee for commenting as well. Big Alan Capers fan. Comes in every week and says, "Let's go Capers." So it's good to see friends and family of the drivers come into the chat. We appreciate it, and it's very cool, you know, that these drivers have people that support them. And we know that a lot of them watch the races after the fact, even during the fact, and just kind of let you know from us at 3x2, we do appreciate it. They appreciate it at the SimPossible Racing League, and it's just a really cool deal. So thank you, Wesley, for coming in, giving us a bit of a shout there for your boy Alan. He's got to be, he was probably happy last Monday seeing Alan came to get that win out in Milwaukee, and definitely that was the first win for Alan Capers in the SimPossible League. So pretty cool to see that. But we're gonna get going green here in just a moment. Double them up once again. Tanner Sharp gonna be your leader. So Digby looks like he elected to come down pit road again. He was your leader out of the pits. I'm not sure what happened there, but he definitely did come down pit road once again, and maybe thinking of fuel or something. I'm not sure, but either way, he did elect to top that car off and get tires on it again. So interesting strategy call there. One driver who we've not talked about all night really is Doug McCollum in the 5th position right there. You see he's a couple rows behind Tanner Sharp. Really, we know Doug is a great driver himself. Kind of a he's a wait and see kind of driver. He's not gonna strike until later on in this race, so definitely making his way towards that front. But the pace car is off field in the hands of Tanner Sharp. We'll see what kind of restart everybody's able to get. Green flag out in the air. Looks like everybody gets a pretty good restart. He's first not able to get going as well as Tanner, but he gets a good late restart. He was able to pull back alongside Sharp through 1 and 2, and we'll see what kind of run he's able to get. I think that Sharp might have the advantage here off turn 2. Yes, he does. Kyle Zimmer able to get around Tim Masters for 3rd position. So Tim running in 4th, Doug McCollum in 5th. So looks like Tanner Sharp able to extend his lead by a little bit over that number 98. Kyle Zimmer hasn't shown his hand too much tonight, but we know he is a very fast driver at every racetrack. He is the points leader after all, so he has to be. Looks like he's still having some connection issues, though. I feel like I just gave the commentator's curse or something, because as soon as I start talking about him, he starts blinking. But either way, we are single file for the most part throughout the field right now, so looks like we are on the later stages of this event, on the back side of it to get it finished. Past halfway, no bonus points for that in this league, but Tanner Sharp right there showing that he wants to get all of them by leading the most laps tonight, and definitely doing a good job of doing just that. He's led a lot of them, he's led the most of them, and definitely doing a good job out front. Ooh, trouble off turn 2. 24 in the wall, 13 in the wall, Brian Lowhead in the wall, and looks like we have a lot of issues here. No caution just yet, but I do believe Race Control will end up throwing one. We'll have to wait and see for that in just a moment. Number 24 is quite damaged. He's still not having his car getting going again. He spun out on the pit entry. No caution just yet. I don't believe we are going to get one if we don't get one in the next couple of seconds or so. So it's going to spell a disaster for all of those drivers involved. But back here at the front, Christopher Burge actually not letting Tanner Sharp get too far away. He's actually running about a tenth quicker every lap. So interesting to see that. There's Matthew Wisniewski on pit road. He hit the wall extremely hard in that accident, so that car is quite well used up. He'll have to get a faster car under green, and he's definitely going to lose a few laps in that exchange. But there's Tanner Sharp, Christopher Burge, and Kyle Zimmer all within about 1 second of each other, exactly. There's Digby Masters and Doug McCollum going at it for the 4th position. This is the pack behind the first one, about 2.5 seconds behind the leader right now. So interesting how that has played out. You see at the back of this pack, Fernando Matos in that wrecked race car. It really has a lot of damage on it, but he's doing a good job keeping it up where it is with all that damage on the front and the rear. So a good job on his part to not fall too far back. I know he's going to want to get that thing fixed up as soon as possible, and if we get another caution, definitely probably going to have to look for that. Ooh, Matthew Wisniewski having some issues getting off pit road, so that's going to be a penalty, I believe, because he did cross the pit exit line. Battle for second, Kyle Zimmer looking on Chris Roberge, and I do believe he might have the run into turn 1. Not just yet. We know Chris Roberge is a tough one to pass, but I think Zimmer might have the advantage here off to not let him get up early. Ooh, looks like there might have been some wall contact there, or at least it was very close for Roberge. But either way, that did get Kyle Zimmer the spot. I do see some right side damage on that number 98. Just a little bit, though. Not a very hard hit at all, and I don't believe it's going to affect him really. But Kyle Zimmer was able to get around him, and he'll set his sights on catching that number 3, who has extended his lead up to about 1.2 seconds over him. There's AJ Digby. There is Tanner Sharp again at the front. About 1 point. Actually, Kyle Zimmer is very well catching Tanner Sharp. I'm not sure if Kyle is driving harder or if Tanner has backed off a little bit, but definitely the lead was chopped by about 0.3 last lap. So very interesting to see that. See out here, this turn 4 camera, see how close the cars get to the wall. And it definitely is very close each and every lap. Even if you're not trying to, you just kind of, the car drifts out there, and it's just something that kind of happens. But Tanner has responded to Kyle's charge, because he has upped his lap times a little bit. Might be just saving his tires, making sure he has some left for the end of this, and definitely doing a good job. We'll see what kind of lap times they ran last lap. About even for both drivers, so definitely I think that's what Tanner did. No battles on the racetrack as of yet, so we're just kind of clicking off laps, waiting for this one to finish. About 40 or so laps to go here. 43 laps to go. Tanner Sharp has shown that he's been one of the strongest cars all night, and definitely is out in the best position he can be, leading as many laps as he can, get all the bonus points. He is your second place driver in points, only 1 point behind the driver behind him, Kyle Zimmer. So you know he's going to want to come out here and have a good race, get all the points he can, and reassume that points lead. Battle for the 5th position between Masters and McCollum here off turn number 4. McCollum was able to get the spot on Masters, so move him up to the 5th position. We were talking about how McCollum was in 5th before, has had a pretty quiet race, haven't talked too much about him, but we know that he is somebody who will always come into his own later on in the race. Tim Masters looking below him a little bit, but I think McCollum has that outside line off 4, and he's going to pull away from Masters a little bit. I'm still very impressed by how good of a job that number 17 of Fernando Matos is doing in that car, which does not look like it belongs on the racetrack right now. It has so much damage around every corner of it, and just doing a good job. Definitely going to want to see how fast he can be when that car is actually fixed up a little bit. There's number 1 of Thomas Wise. He's behind Tom Johnson in 56. That was for the 9th position. And these two drivers have been about there all night, running about where they started in the race. So the best battle on the racetrack right now between these two drivers. Up here at the front, Christopher Burge and AJ Digby to be going at it. I believe Digby took position from Christopher Burge, so he's going to try to get away and maybe catch that number 25 in front of him. 25 has not let Tanner Sharp get too far ahead to lead about a solid 0.7 of a second. Getting around the lap car of Alan Capers. Lost a little bit of time there, but Kyle definitely able to at least match Tanner's lap times. Of course, we know he can match him all day and all night, but if he can't beat them, then that's not going to spell anything for his ability to catch that number 3. But if we can go ahead and take a chance to go through the field in just a moment. There's Tanner Sharp there. He is your leader. Started in the 4th position, running first. Doing a great job tonight. Has led the most laps of anyone so far, so doing the best he can. About 7 to 8 tenths behind him, Kyle Zimmer, the 3rd place starter tonight. He's running 2nd right behind Tanner Sharp, seeing if he can do something with him as we get closer to the end of this race. About 2 seconds behind is AJ Digby, your 2nd place starter, running in the 3rd position. Doing a pretty good job, having a bit of a low-key race. We saw him actually start at the back of the pack. Not sure what happened to him, but he definitely did start not where he came out of the pits. He was your leader out of the pits, but not starting there. Christopher Burge started in the 10th position. You see there, he's now running 4th. Had a pretty good race all night so far. A very good run for him. Right behind him is that number 33 of Doug McCollum. Excuse me, that's not right behind him. Still getting tripped up by his car and Nick Hill, but there's Doug McCollum. Started in the 14th position, running 5th, having a pretty good run. I don't think we've seen the rest or the last of this driver tonight. About a couple seconds behind him is Tim Masters, pole sitter. Probably not the night he's wanted so far. Not able to have the speed. Has a bit of damage on that car. You see that right front fender a little bit crinkled up. Not able to have the race pace to do anything with anybody in front of him. But either way, you know, this race is not over. He's actually under fire from Fernando Matos in that car, so he's going to lose the the sixth spot to him. So we'll talk about Fernando Matos real quick. He was your 7th place driver. He's now your 6th place driver, and that car is absolutely destroyed. We've sent that a few laps to caution out. So we will have to end that right now. We'll go see what happened. I believe it's with Thomas Wise there in the 1 car. He's slow on the racetrack, so we'll check and see what happened on the replay and tell you exactly. He spun out there on the front stretch right now, so see if we can back up the replay just a little bit to see what happened. There's Matthew Wisniewski in the 24, and I believe there might have been some contact with the wall, so not anything with the 24, but he got in the wall a little bit, and it kind of just pitched the car into a spin, and nothing he could do there. So either way, he did get it going again. He'll come into the pits and fix that car right up, take an onboard shot and see what happened to him. Running on the bottom of the racetrack, or the top of the racetrack, and just hit the wall. Looks like he got behind on the steering a little bit, just never caught back up to it, and never really able to save the car once it popped the wall. But either way, back here at the front, there is your leader, Tanner Sharp. And getting down to 30 or so laps to go in this race. This is the kind of window where you want to start thinking about your last pit stop, maybe. Definitely if we do go green, we are very well good on fuel to the end here. Looks like everybody's coming down pit road, at least of the lead lap cars. All of the ones that are staying out right now are lap cars, I believe. Excuse me, Billy Wise looks like he's going to stay out on the racetrack, so interesting strategy call there. Might be trying to lead a lap. I don't think he has left one all day, but definitely will have to wait and see on that regard. Look, everybody pulls into their box, see if we have a bunch of clean... Ooh, Digby not able to get in his box very well at all. He's still having issues, so that's going to cost him a lot of time. Huge mistake there. He pulled into his box kind of off kilter and just never got... Still having trouble, so that's gonna be a disastrous stop for that number 14. He is still not in the box, and that's one of the things we were talking about. Just these boxes are so incredibly small that that's something that really can affect you a big time. You get kind of messed up there in the boxes and just not able to. You got to start backing up and then turning sideways, and you know it's just so hard to get that car straight in the box, and that's going to be a disastrous stop for Digby. But you know he's pretty much going to be where he was on the restart last time, and we saw him get up back to the top 5 fairly easily. So you know, you never know. The worst he's going to start is in the 10th position, barring that he doesn't have an EOL or something for speeding, because there's only 10 cars on the lead lap as of right now. Battle off pit road, though. It looks like that Billy Wise elected to come down pit road, so that answers our question of whether he wanted to lead a lap or not, and indeed he did. He's going to come down pit road, get 4 fresh tires on that car. Battle off pit road was won by Tanner Sharp, followed by Kyle Zimmer and Christopher Burge coming off in 3rd. Fernando Matos electing to finally fix that destroyed race car, and you know, it looks a lot more pleasing to the eyes now, but we saw that he was pretty fast with that car being badly damaged, and you gotta think he's only gonna be better with the car not beat up and used up. All right, car lights are off. We're doubling up for another restart here at Dover. Let's take a moment to reset our top 10 once again, and there's going to be 10 cars on the lead lap, so we will give you all of them. Tanner Sharp right there is your leader. Kyle Zimmer to his outside in that orange machine. Christopher Burge third, Fernando Matos fourth, Tim Masters fifth, Tom Johnson, Doug McCollum, AJ Digby, Billy Wise, and Brian Lloyd are going to round out your top 10. Under 30 laps to go here, and we will have to wait and see how this intensity ramps up to the end of this race. We know that number 3 has been fast all night. We know that number 25 has been fast all night, just maybe not as fast as the 3, but we'll see if he can do anything with Tanner on this restart to maybe jump him or do something. The pace car is pulling off into pit road, and we will get going green here in just a moment. Flagman has that green flag in his hand, and we will get going green here right now. Green flag is out. Tanner Sharp gets a good restart. Kyle Zimmer does not. He actually gets a bump from behind from Christopher Burge, and actually, I was a little bit wrong there. Kyle Zimmer looked like he got going a little bit later, but had a great restart, was able to pull alongside of the 3. That's something we have seen a little bit. Tim Masters a little bit in the wall, back a little bit. Fernando Matos able to get around him for the 4th position. Tim still bleeding spots left and right, so he losing a few more to Doug McCollum. Doug McCollum actually looking under Fernando Matos for the 4th position. So I told you guys that we have not seen the end of that. Ooh, trouble. Not trouble. I thought there was some trouble there, but Tanner Sharp from a block on the 25. So interesting right there. Maybe Christopher Burge looking to be in the best position of tonight if these two up front get a little bit too racy and maybe get into each other. So we saw Kyle Zimmer look on bottom of Tanner Sharp do 1 and 2, not able to do anything just yet. And I think Chris Burge is going to be quite content to sit exactly where he is and watch this battle unfold. But look right there on the top of your screen, that 33 of Doug McCollum. I was telling you guys that we have not seen the last of him tonight, and maybe if these 3 up here get into some trouble, that 33 car might be the one in the catbird seat. We know he has speed. We know he's a fast driver. He started in 14th, not able to get a qualifying, or not a lap time in qualifying, but it doesn't matter because he definitely showing that he knows how to get it done tonight. But on board here with number 3, you see the front end of that 25, see how close he is through 1 and 2. Not really able to do anything right now. And we've kind of noticed that these 2 cars are about the same speed as each other, so maybe if Zimmer can do something to get around that 3, he can maybe hold him off. But we know that being the same speed as someone does not promote well to passing, because if you're at the same speed, then you're kind of just riding with them, pace laps type. But Kyle Zimmer looks like he has a good opportunity to do that right now. Tanner Sharp throwing a bit of a block again. So Tanner, I think we're going to see some aggressiveness from Kyle right here. He's going to drive it into 3. Has a good run through the center. We'll see if he can do anything off. No, he can't. Tanner using that outside line to his advantage, keeping the momentum up, and able to stay in front of that 25. So good piece of racing here between these 2 former teammates in SimPossible. And it looks like that 25 is very good on the bottom side of turn 3 and 4, but that number 3 is able to reduce that higher line to his advantage and keep the momentum. Here comes Christopher Burge on the outside of Kyle Zimmer. What a move for him. He just came out of nowhere and kind of just inserted himself in the battle. Contact! Ooh! I think we saw it right there. Ooh, huge wreck. Everybody, a lot of people involved here, and here's the big one. That's the Dover wreck right there that we were talking about in the pre-race, and I think I know exactly what happened there, but I let the viewers decide for themselves. I gotta say that I don't think that was Kyle Zimmer's fault. I think he stuck his nose there, but it looks like the 3 came down on him, and Kyle was not going to back off for him, and why should he? We're getting down to the end of this race, so I think that that's kind of what we saw. Nothing. Kyle Zimmer was as low as he could have gone on the racetrack, and Tanner just kept coming down, and you saw the end result. 33 of Doug McCollum. I think AJ Digby has damage on his car. I think Christopher Burge has damage. Actually, they might be pretty well off comparatively, but definitely the number 98 has a lot of damage on the front of his car. So a lot of these drivers are going to have to come down pit road and get fast repairs. Fernando Matos, who just got his car fixed the last caution, has a lot of damage. They're just on board with Doug McCollum. You can see that car spinning quite wildly, but definitely some hard racing here up at the front between the two former teammates, like we were saying, and you saw the end result of that. Like most everybody coming down pit road right now to get fast repairs and get tires on the car. Christopher is already down and away. He might be the leader on the restart. I believe he took 2 tires, so interesting strategy call. I would say that, you know, we're close enough to the end of the race where that is a viable thing to do. So looks like he is going to win the race off pit road. Tim Masters actually was able to beat Kyle Zimmer off, and we've talked about Tim Masters not able to have the race pace tonight, but maybe you know, we've seen things like that before. Maybe this is all he needed. He got 2 tires as well. So I think our first car on 4 tires is that number 25 of Kyle Zimmer, who was your leader at the time of the caution. Alright, 1 lap to green here at Dover, so we have about not that many laps to go. There's about 15 laps to go here at the restart or so, quite a sprint to the finish we're going to have. Might see another caution or 2. But the field in the hands of Billy Wise, who's staying out on the racetrack, and the 2 cars immediately behind him are on 2 tires. Christopher Burge and Tim Masters electing to take 2 tires on this round of pit stops. So interesting strategy calls there. First car on 4 tires is at 25 of Kyle Zimmer, who was involved in the last caution. And we saw Tanner Sharp getting spun around there. He's back in the 9th position. The pace car is off, and we're gonna have a sprint to the finish here at Dover. Flagman has the green flag in his hand. He's gonna throw it out here in just a moment, and watch for wheel spin on this restart. Green flag is out. Looks like everybody got going pretty well. Good restart for the whole field. Billy Wise able to get going pretty well. Tim Masters reverse able to get going pretty well. We'll see through turns 1 and 2 what happens. Looks like Billy Wise not able to get going through the corner. That might be his Achilles heel, but Tim Masters looks like he's the big loser out of that ordeal. He lost a few positions there, but Christopher Burge able to sprint off into the lead right now. He's got the first car on 4 tires right behind him, Kyle Zimmer. So you got to think that Zimmer is in the best position he can be right now. He knows that he has the freshest tires, and the nearest car on him, or to him with 4, is that number 17 of Fernando Matos. He is back in the 5th position right now. So this race has kind of been turned upside down in these very late stages of the event, and Kyle Zimmer showing that he does have the speed. Ooh, trouble in the back. There's a car that is spinning around. I think it's the 13 of Alan Capers. And yes, indeed it is. So that car very well damaged, but he's able to get it going again. Billowing smoke out, spraying mosquitoes, but everything looks like it's able to get going again. I think it might have started here with, he just got into the 66 of Brian Lowhead, not enough room there off the corner, and I think that 56 of Tom Johnson net-coated through him. I don't see any damage on the front of the 56. Actually, yes, there is, so maybe there was some actual contact there, but either way, that number 13 went spinning wildly out of the way. It's the 3 of Tanner Sharp, who we were just talking about, who was involved in the last caution. Does not have a lot of time to get back into the front or get into the mix of this race, so definitely Tanner probably going to be a little bit frustrated with the way his night has gone, but still is going to have some time to make some ground up, and we'll see if he can do that as we get closer to the end of this race. I think we might see some pit stops here in just a moment, and yes, we are. Some of the drivers further on back electing to come down pit road first, led by Chris Roberge, who actually was your leader, so that's an interesting strategy call for him. I'm not sure if I agree with that or not, but he's the one driving the car. I'm just the one talking about it. Billy Wise also electing to come down pit road, as well as Doug McCollum, Tom Johnson, who was involved in that accident. Probably to come down and fix this car up because it is quite heavily damaged. That's going to allow that number 3 of Tanner Sharp to restart in the 5th position on this restart. We know he is very aggressive, and he's got to be hot about the way his race has gone since the accident he was involved in. So you got to think he's going to be very aggressive on this restart. But coming to 10 laps to go now, we're going to be restarting with about 8 to go, I believe, or maybe 7. So definitely going to be. We're getting down to the late stages of this race to where we might not be able to get the green flag going again if we have a caution. Once again, those pace car lights are off, and we're going to be set to get going green here in just a moment. Your leader on the restart is going to be that number 25 of Kyle Zimmer, that Home Depot machine, and Tim Masters, who we've talked about all night not having the night he wants to have probably, but able to get up there in that second position. He definitely is still in a chance to win, even though he's not had the outright pace of maybe some of the cars around him, but definitely has put himself in a position to win if he figures something out or something happens to anyone around him. So a very good job on his part to do that. Fernando Matos in third. That's the highest up he's been all night, so good to see that. AJ Digby able to get back up to fourth, and Tanner Sharp in fifth. We've seen that he's been involved in a few accidents, and he's got to be hot. We know he's going to be aggressive on this restart, so if you just tuned in, definitely do not tune back out, because it's going to be one hell of a sprint to this finish. But the pace car is off. Wait for that flag man to put the green flag out, which it does right now, and everybody on the gas. Looks like Kyle Zimmer got a pretty good restart. Tim Masters got a pretty good restart. Number 14 of AJ Digby wiggling around a little bit, but able to keep those tires up through 1 and 2. So side by side for Kyle Zimmer and Tim Masters. Tim Masters got out of the gas, out of turn number 2, and here comes Tanner Sharp 3 wide into turn 3. I don't think that's going to work, and no, it's not. Huge wreck, and number 9 of Tim Masters going flipping around. That was inevitably going to happen. That was going to happen every single time, but number 4 of Nick Tilla getting hard into the number 9 of Tim Masters, and that was a huge accident. I think we were talking about how we don't want to see any flying cars again because we saw that last night, but there we go, the number 9 going flying through the air. That was just a matter of too many cars and too small of a space. I think we see some frustration on the part of Fernando Matos on Tanner Sharp, giving him a bump under caution, but we'll go on board with Tim Masters a little bit. You see a wild ride from the gyro cam, that car going flying through the air, flipping around, and just really not doing things it should be doing. And wow, what a ride for him. And we were just talking on the restart how he was doing. He did a great job getting himself up into the position to win. And you gotta think that a bit of a commentator's curse there, because, well, the car is quite literally a little bit dead, but either way, not really dead. He was able to get it going again, albeit crabbing a ton. If we could get a shot on his car right now, it is absolutely sideways. He's not even able to drive it into the pits right now because it's so sideways. That is not how you want your car to be driving, folks. That's not the way it should be driving. See some frustration there, I think, with Tanner Sharp from Fernando Matos, but that number 9 still not able to get it going straight. I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen a car crab that much on iRacing, so we're all learning new things tonight. That takes the whole Sam Hornish crab from back around 2010, 2009 to a whole new level, and he is absolutely looking out the right side of that windshield right now, because wow. You can see right there, car gets popped out pretty quickly, and it's definitely going to drive a little bit more straight than it was. The beauty of fast repairs in iRacing. But we told you guys that this restart was going to be a crazy one, and we definitely saw a lot of craziness there, and we're going to have one more chance at least to get it going again, and hopefully we can get a green flag finish in this race. Some connection issues for the leader, Kyle Zimmer, still, but hopefully that does not affect the end of this race for him. Alright, we are set to go back green here one more time for the final time here at Dover. Whatever the next flag is will be the end of this race. We will get the green flag, and if the caution comes out, the race will be over, and if we get the checkered flag, the race will of course be over as well. So we only have about 4 laps to go. We'll have 3 to go on the restart. And hopefully we can get a green flag finish for all the fans watching and for these drivers as well. So it's been quite a crazy race here in the SimPossible Racing League at Dover. Of course, we saw that last season with the trucks as well. One difference being that this race is not going to end at night, and that was the first race I commentated with this league, so a little bit of a homecoming for myself. Pretty cool to see that, but either way, the finish of this race is going to be something to watch. Pace car is off. Tanner Sharp there, a bit of a move to get himself back into the position he's in, but he is in position to win. We'll see what kind of restart he's able to get. Green flag is out in the air. Looks like everybody gets a pretty good restart. Tanner Sharp gets a good restart. A bit of a duking back and forth in the pack, but Kyle Zimmer has the preferred groove through 1 and 2. He's going to pull ahead of Sharp a little bit. Sharp is going to have to deal with the number 98 of Chris Verge. Gets a good run through turn number 2, and he's going to pull low off of 2, see if he can make a move into 3. You know he's going to be aggressive on that inside line. Probably make a dive bomb in there. Very close through 1 and 2. We'll see if these two make contact again, and indeed they do, just a little bit, but nobody went spinning off into the wall this time, so good to see that. A good clean racing here for the time being. We'll see if these two make contact again. We've already seen it once tonight, and the catbird seat might be that number 98 of Chris Verge, but Kyle Zimmer able to pull ahead of Tanner Sharp for the time being, and he has a pretty substantial lead right now. I don't think Tanner will be able to do anything with that lead if Kyle does not make a mistake. So final lap here at Dover. 1 more mile to go. Get kazoos ready. We will have the finish for you, and it looks like it will be under green flag condition, so that is a very good thing to see. Have some wrecking in the back. Billy Wise looks like he got turned around. We're going to focus here on the battle for the win, and it looks like Kyle Zimmer is going to outlast Tanner Sharp. He's going to win the battle here at Dover and pull off the victory. What a great race. What a great finish, and wow, what a crazy race that was. Those two former teammates putting on one heck of a show for the battle for the win, and we saw the winner beat Kyle Zimmer. That's going to be good for his points lead. He's going to love what he saw tonight. Billy Wise doing some driving right there. He's got the car in reverse, kind of spun it around, but he's determined to make it to the finish. So fans got to be loving that, and indeed he does make it to the finish. So good on Billy for doing that, albeit 1 lap down. But either way, he did finish the race. Kyle Zimmer going to celebrate with some celebratory burnouts here on the stretch right at the start-finish line. Giving the fans a show after the show, because that was one heck of a race that we saw, and what a good showing by these SimPossible Racing League drivers. We're gonna let these drivers get their thoughts collected real quick. We're gonna let them kind of cool off for a bit. We're gonna get you some interviews here in just a moment, so hang tight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dover. We've concluded tonight's event. Your winner, Kyle Zimmer. But before we get to him, let's talk with our second place finisher. Tanner Sharp wasn't able to catch up with Chris Roberge, your third place finisher, just yet. We'll see if we can get him a little bit later. But I've got him here. Tanner Sharp, this is Sam Rich up here. You got a copy?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, probably not the finish you wanted. You definitely had the strongest car tonight, led the most laps, I believe. But before I ask you the obvious question, just kind of take us through your night from your eyes.
This was a fine night. I mean, it was Dover. It's intense as usual. The restarts are pretty wild, especially in second gear, because you're constantly spinning tires in second gear. I started in third gear, and guys are starting second gear, and they're blowing by me. So that was a lesson learned earlier. But the goal was just trying to keep it clean and be patient with the guys here tonight. Some guys are struggling on this track, and some weren't. And when you get to somebody, you just gotta be patient on passes and when to make the move. So that's what I tried doing all night long. I know it got pretty wild towards the end there, but although it was a pretty good finish for the Nationwide Camaro second place tonight. So
yes, it was definitely a second place, not a bad finish at all. But I have to ask you the question: a bit of contact there between you and your former teammate, Kyle Zimmer. Was that kind of what do you think happened there from your perspective?
are you asking when I was spun out?
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't do anything wrong. It was just PJ Major's automated spotter, man, just talking about the ambulance in the infield and not telling me if he's still on the inside or not, because I wanted to clear the 25. So I just took a guess that I was clear, and apparently I wasn't. So that was all on me on Kyle right there. So TJ's practically fired after this race, so we're going to have to find a new spotter.
Yeah, I heard Earl Barbin is looking for a job if you want a decent spotter there. But either way, Tanner, a good night for you. Good finish in second. Probably a little bit disappointed that you weren't able to capture that win. But either way, the next race we go to, I believe a couple weeks away, have an off week or two, is at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So how are you looking forward to that event?
It's a mile-and-a-half racetrack. Should be all right. We're not bad at Charlotte, but we're not great. We kind of showed that in the truck season last season, so we'll figure it out. As far as that one incident, I know you didn't ask it, but as far as that one incident goes, that happened, that last caution, I thought the car ahead of the 17 hit the wall, and apparently I just looked at the replay. Apparently he didn't. He tried checking up for that wall, but he was still trying to play a little defense as he's supposed to be. And I couldn't see the car. I couldn't see him headed for now, so I just went for it because everybody just checked up. And I had an awkward position entering the corner, turn 3, and obviously we're all not letting up. We're practically 4 wide entering that corner, and it's a huge disaster. So I hit it for a 17 to 9 and a 14, but I don't know. Is what it is on that. So.
All right, Tanner. Well, appreciate you talking with us as always. But before we let you go, I'm gonna give you a chance to throw out some shout-outs for you that kind of make this possible.
Yeah, it was well, thank you for the family, first and foremost, for, the best support in life. Going through some personal issues this week that's happening in the family right now. So I pray for them, and God bless everybody in my family. Thanks to Nationwide for the sponsorship on the hood of the car, Shriners Hospital for Children, Mountain Dew, and the league, Jeff Schmidt, for putting everything on. So good, congratulations to Kyle on his win here at Dover tonight. It was a good battle between him and I. I had to back off before, otherwise I was going to get tight and push up the track on him, and I didn't want to do that. So thank you to you guys, 3-Way TV, for broadcasting this race tonight. Much appreciated. You guys do a great job every week. And by the way, Carlos, Vegas.
Absolutely. Well, Tanner, we thank you so much for talking with us, and we'll definitely remember Vegas.
He definitely knows it has nothing to do with partying.
All right, Tanner. Well, congrats on your second place finish tonight. A good run, and we hope to talk to you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right, that was your second place finisher of tonight, Tanner Sharp. I believe not able to catch up with Chris Roberge, your third place finisher, having some issues there. So I'll go ahead and just get our first place finisher tonight, Kyle Zimmer, in the booth. And Kyle, you were able to notch your second win of the year. A pretty crazy race from our perspective up in the booth. Kind of just take us through it in your own eyes.
Yeah, definitely a crazy race. Glad to have another win, and yeah, the race was pretty good early on. The tire wear was definitely great play through the whole race, especially how warm the track was, the track temperature, you know. And tire wear off was definitely big off after 15-20 laps. Was 1 second off from my fastest lap, and but yeah, coming, I was on and off, getting in top 5 for the first half, and then second half in the race, and I found I found a better way to get around the corners, and was able to keep it up with Tanner. And again, I want to apologize to him with that incident that happened, and I think it was 15-20 to go, something like that. But it was a racing incident, I believe, and but I was a little worried with staying out and see at 10 to go when Kurt pitted and I obviously stayed out. I know the last time we're here at this truck, I tried the same strategy and it didn't work last time, so I was a little worried, but it paid off this time, and able to hold off Tanner and to find a restart. Then went home again.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask you is we noticed some of the drivers running different lines all night. Did you ever feel the track kind of change to where that was kind of a viable thing to do?
The track, I think it did rubber in, and later of the race, when it clouded in, I noticed there's a lot more grump. After turn 2 to 4, I would say both. But in the end, there were some, I kind of changed my lane here to there, you know, more in the middle lane. It kind of cut diamond kind of into Edson out of the corner as the long run came. But yeah, I found in the early runs, or even with the tires, I mean, and sticking right by the white line, it worked pretty well as far as I've seen. But yeah, I noticed that late of the race it was more grump, and I think the track was down the late of the stage of the race. And I think it did affect a little bit on turn 4, because I noticed I was a little tight here or there. That's about it.
All right, well, you know, before we let you go and but one more question for you. We have a couple off weeks before we go back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, which I believe might be the new layout. So how are you looking forward to what I think might be the first race on that configuration?
Charlotte, one of my favorite tracks. Yeah, new configuration, but I know in the truck series I dominated, and I'm definitely looking forward to see how I could win the E-Car series and the vehicles, and I believe it's gonna be a day race, so it definitely could be a challenge with the track condition. It could be on run, could be tire wear off and lose fighting the car instead of racing cars. So it's definitely gonna be something to watch for, everything. Sure.
All right, dude. Well, you know, before we let you go, I'm gonna give you a chance to give us some shout-outs. We know you have a lot of people you probably want to thank, so let's hear them.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to shout out to you guys, Rewind TV, broadcasting this. I want to thank everyone who participated in this thing, and I want to thank Levi for supporting me. The team gives them another win. And I want to thank Jeff for creating this. Without this, this would happen. And Definitely been a great race today. Thank you.
All right, Kyle. Well, congratulations on your win tonight, and definitely go celebrate. And we hope to talk to you again next week. But go ahead and get one more interview for you, I believe. Let's get our 5th place finisher tonight, Fernando Matos. Fernando, this is 3 Watt TV. You got a copy, bud. Fernando Matos, this is 3 Watt TV. You got a copy? Alright, well, I don't believe we have been able to get him, so we'll see if we can catch him up in a little bit. Let's get Jeff Schmidt down here real quick. Jeff Schmidt, this is Cameron Rich up in the booth. You got a copy?
What is up, Cameron?
Oh, it's pretty good. Really, spirits are up. That was a pretty good race, wasn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it. It had just about everything you could imagine. Dover's a tricky track. There's not many times you see a race here where there's not wrecks here and there, so I think the guys did an amazing job with what they had to deal with. The track was a little bit warm, restarting on older tires and even on new tires here. Yeah, it's hard to do here. You always get tire spin, so that was what brought out that first caution immediately, and the guys get better and better as the run went on to try to avoid that tire spin.
Yeah, definitely. Tire spin on the restarts is something that even in real life we see catch a lot of people out, and we've seen huge wrecks caused by it. But we did see a huge wreck tonight. Somebody went flying through there. I believe it was the 9 of Tim Masters. And interesting enough, last night we saw in another league broadcasted at this very racetrack, somebody went flying through the air as well. So I think there's a curse on Dover or something, because it's not technically something you see at this racetrack.
No, absolutely. We're going to have to get a hold of Tim and see if he's got his pilot's license.
One thing I do want to ask you, just kind of personally, I was looking at the schedule. It looks like we have 2 off weeks for the next race. Is that correct?
Yeah. Since we follow the real life Xfinity NASCAR schedule, we do have the next 2 weeks off in the Wednesday B-Car Series. So it's kind of sad. It's going to be 2 weeks until we get back racing on Wednesday, but we stayed true and accurate to the schedule, and that's what they're doing in real life, so we're following it. The Monday races will continue to go on weekly, but we'll be back here on Wednesday in 2 weeks.
All right. Well, definitely want to give you a chance to shout out everybody that makes this league go around and around like the Easter Bunnies. So let's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Energizer Bunny.
Hey, we're not too far off Easter,
Yeah, at least that was in the same time period.
Now, if you would have said Santa Claus, then I would have questioned you a little bit. But, you guys, 3Y TV, always do an amazing job. Cameron, some of the times when you have to sit there and commentate by yourself, and you still do an awesome job doing it. We can definitely see the progression of how much better you've gotten as the announcer, and you've always done an amazing job, but you always do get better, and it's just awesome to see, man. We love hearing your voice and watching these races afterwards. So thank you guys, thank you Carlos for manning the cameras and doing all that you guys do. Definitely got to thank the drivers for showing up and making this thing work. This is the league is for them, so without them it wouldn't be anything. What a group of amazing individuals we have here. We're blessed to call them all friends, and everyone gets along great. Shout out to Fernando's mom. It's her birthday today, I believe, and I could be mistaken, but I believe her name is Christine Matos. So happy birthday, Christine. And we're looking for sponsors. If anyone's interested in that, get a hold of me, or you can message me through our email at simpossible@gmail.com. Also, if you're a driver with a disability and you want to join us out on track, go to our website, simpossible.racing.com, and on that website you'll find the schedule, the points, a driver sign-up form, And yeah, pretty much everything that you could possibly need to know about the league is there on that website. Again, it's SimPossibleRacing.com.
Hey guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Sorry.
All right, Jeff. Well, that's a lot of cool words coming out of your mouth, as always. It's like I said, it's always a pleasure to be a part of the SimPossible family, because that's what it is, and a bit of a homecoming from myself at this racetrack too. It's the first race I commentated, and so glad to come back and know what I'm doing a little bit. So before we get this wrapped up, Fernando, we tried to interview you a little bit, so you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy now.
All right, man. Well, you did finish 5th today, and talked about you a bit during the race, driving a destroyed car for about what seemed to be half the race. Kind of just take us through the race in your own eyes. I said race a lot there, so...
Yeah, I'm a guy who likes to save fancy pairs if the car is running well, and the car was running well. It was keeping a pace, so with 30 to go, I decided they had enough fancy pairs to fix the car finally.
Yeah, definitely. It did look it was running pretty well there with the damage, and you were able to get it fixed up there. But I want to ask you, that incident down in turn 3 where there was some contact between you and Tanner, was there a bit of frustration on your part? Caution?
No frustration, I was just coming hard into the back of the base car, and I think I misjudged my braking. Yeah, of course it's a bit frustrating. Nobody likes to be taken out with 2 laps to go with a move like that, but racing's racing. Then he's a great guy, so no frustration at all.
That's always good to hear, and want to ask you one more thing. In a couple weeks, we do have a few off weeks. We go to Charlotte Motor Speedway, which I believe might be the new layout, which would be really cool to see. But how are you looking forward to that event?
That will be interesting because I'll be racing from my BenSound in Florida, so that will be interesting to see if I can get my wheel dialed down and everything dialed down, but we'll be there and be fighting for the win for sure.
All right, Fernando, before we let you go, one congrats on your top 5 finish. Probably should have finished a bit higher, but involved in some stuff there at the end. Had a good run, but we're going to give you a chance to give some shout-outs to people you want to thank and all that stuff. We heard it's your mother's birthday, is that correct?
Yes, Mom, happy birthday. Love you. Miss you. I'll see you Saturday. Happy birthday, Mom. Shout out to 3 White TV. You guys do a great job every week. And shout out to Jeff. Without him, this would not be possible. Shout out to my friend Mike, who was watching the race. And yeah, fun race. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, Fernando. Well, appreciate you taking a moment to speak with us, and we're gonna go ahead and get you some results real quick and wrap this up. So we can wrap this broadcast up as soon as possible. Get some results here. All right, plot twist here. Carlos is messed up, but we have results regardless. Your winner, Kyle Zimmer, outlasting the war against Tanner Sharp. Chris Burge coming home in third. Doug McCollum, a great run to come home in fourth. Started 14th, and we told you he was going to be somewhere there near at the end. Fernando Matsu, so we just talked to coming home in fifth. Tim Masters, who flew through the air and got his pilot's license in the middle of the race, coming home in the sixth position. Brian Lohead coming home with a solid seventh position. Tom Johnson in 8th, Thomas Wise in 9th, and AJ Digby had some issues there at the end, coming home in 10th. 11th place was Alan Capers, the cone killer himself. Billy Wise coming home in 12th. We saw him come across the line in reverse, driving backwards. Nate Catilla coming home in 13th. Matthew Lesniewski in 14th, and Johnny Berardi coming home in 15th. But from all of us here at 3 Wide TV, that is all we have for you tonight. So if you liked what you see, hit that like and subscribe button. If you didn't, then I don't know why you're still here, but we do have more SimPossible for you most Mondays and Wednesdays, so definitely a good group of guys to check out. Appreciate all the chatters that come to keep us company during the race, and all the people that watch us both live and the replays, all the friends and family and everybody who makes this possible. I want to thank SimTV for those awesome cameras they give us week in and week out that we can show you stuff with. But I think that's all we have for you tonight. But we hope all you guys have an awesome night, and stay safe if you go out and do anything, and stay awesome.